This is the enduring issue, or part 3 of the Regents. Your task. Number 1. Identify and explain an enduring issue raised by this set of documents. 2. Argue why the issue you selected is significant and how it has endured across time. In your essay, be sure to identify the enduring issue based on historically accurate interpretation of at least 3 documents. A hint, if you want to do 3 documents, do 3, but make sure to include a bunch of outside information. And then if you're going to do 4, you can kind of lay back, but still to get that 5, you need to include still a bunch of information. So I would say do 3. Argue that this is a significant issue that has endured by showing 1. How the issue has affected people or has been affected by people, and 2. How the issue has continued to be an issue or has changed over time. Include relevant outside information from your knowledge of social studies. Scoring notes. Some examples of enduring issues that students may identify in at least 3 documents are provided. However, the other issues may be identified if they are supported by accurate facts, examples from both documents, and outside information. Basically saying there's a certain list that you can pick from that you're not allowed to see, obviously, but there's a certain list that you can pick in your head, but there's some that don't tie into it but could tie into it based on your outside information. Okay, so now we're going to talk about the scores. We're going to go from least to greatest. Score of 0. This is the worst. Fails to develop the task or may only refer to the issue in a general way, or includes no relevant facts, examples, or details, or includes only evidence copied from the documents, or includes entire documents copied from the test booklet, or is illegible or is a blank paper. Score of 1. Identifies but does not explain one enduring issue raised in the documents, minimally develops one aspect of the argument, may include minor inaccuracies, is descriptive, may lack understanding or application, includes some vague, unclear references to the document, or includes minimal relevant facts, examples, and details copied from the documents, may include some inaccuracies, presents no relevant outside information, may demonstrate a weakness in organization, may lack focus, may contain digressions, may lack an introduction and a conclusion. So the main thing you need to keep in your mind is you need a strong introduction, like Mr. Brown said. You need to draw your reader in immediately. And so when the middle, if it gets boring enough, that's when you introduce the conclusion, which is another strong part. So you need a strong introduction and a strong conclusion. Score of 2. Identifies but does not clearly explain one enduring issue raised in the documents. Only talk about one enduring issue. Don't try to bring in climate change and then human rights violations. Only talk about one that you find is most relevant in the documents. Minimally develops both aspects of the argument or develops one aspect of the argument in little depth. May include minor inaccuracies. Is primarily descriptive. May include faulty, weak, or isolated application or analysis. Includes few relevant facts, examples, and details from the documents, or consists primarily of relevant information. Prevents little to no outside information. Demonstrates a general plan of organization, may lack focus, might be boring. Score of 3. From 3 and to 5, you need to earn that to show that you were worthy of Global 2 being in the AP class. Score of 3. Identifies and explains one enduring issue raised in the documents. Develops both aspects of the argument with little depth, or develops only one aspect of the argument with some depth, may include minor inaccuracies, is more descriptive than analytical, includes some relevant evidence that includes facts, examples, and details from some of the documents, includes limited relevant outside information, demonstrates a satisfactory plan of organization, includes an introduction and conclusion. That's the bare minimum you need to get. Score of 4. Identifies and accurately explains one enduring issue raised in at least 3 documents, develops a thoughtful argument in some depth, and how the enduring issue has affected people or has been affected by them, and how it continues to be an issue or has changed over time or develops in the argument somewhat unevenly by discussing one aspect of the argument more thoroughly than the other, is both descriptive and analytical, supports the task by incorporating relevant evidence that includes facts, examples, and details from at least 3 documents, supports the task by incorporating relevant outside information, demonstrates a logical and clear plan of organization, includes an introduction and a conclusion. Score 5. This is what you need to get. Clearly identifies and accurately explains one enduring issue raised in at least 3 documents. What you really should do is you should try to do, so I take back what I said about the 3. Since there's other people grading it and you need to try and aim for 4 documents, yes, you're going to be cutting it close on time, but you need to literally make sure you are settled in. You take notes on the documents. You make sure you're writing what you need to write as notes before you start writing. And you can flip back and forth as many times as you want. Make sure you have all your multiple choice, all your CRQs locked in, and then worry about the essay. You should give yourself about, I would say, 1 hour and 30 minutes, 2 hours, if you do it fast. Develops an even, thoughtful, and an in-depth argument about how the enduring issue has affected people or has been affected by them, and how the issue continues to be or has changed over time. Is more analytical than descriptive, richly supports the task by incorporating relevant evidence that includes facts, examples, and details from at least 3 documents. Richly supports the task by incorporating substantial relevant outside information, and demonstrates a logical and clear plan of organization, includes an introduction and conclusion. My advice so far, and what you should do for tomorrow, is you should use 4 documents, try to relevate them, you know every single part of the notes, you should be good, and you should make sure you have a strong introduction and conclusion. Make sure you know what to do. Make sure you know you're taking notes. Make sure you're being accurate with your outside data. I advise not to put dates. Make sure you emphasis, because dates are kind of hard to do, but make sure you emphasis on the names. So if you're going to talk about D-Day, make sure you emphasis what it is. Or if you're going to talk about the February Revolution, say this is the February Revolution that happened in Russia, instead of saying the month it did, because it did not happen in February. I think it happened in March. But if they're asking for the exact date, just sort of guess, take an educated guess. It would be considered a small inaccuracy, but anything close to try not to mention a date would get you a good point. That's about it. Make sure you're using at least 1 outside information for each. So if, for example, if you're going to talk about Bloody Sunday, you can tie that into the Tiananmen Square massacre, because it was both governments feeling threatened. You could do women's rights movements on hijabs and the paper trail in Britain at the time. Another good one, so it also doesn't have to be somewhere in a different time period. It could also be an example of something that happened at that time. So in the practice essay you did, which you got a 5 on, you did the British Raj in India, and you talked about how the Indians were poorly treated and stuff, which then you can talk about a upstander to that, which would be Gandhi and his Salt March and all of the things, and his homespun movement, all of that. Thank you. Bye.